Inside 800 meters within a square meter, a deep dive cast conversation filled with suspense, emotion, and the soul of the 1990s. The atmosphere inside the studio was lively long before the cameras officially rolled. Four actors sat side by side, smiling, teasing each other, and quietly preparing to introduce a drama that had already begun capturing attention online. Some viewers were drawn in by the suspenseful trailer. Others were fascinated by the gritty 1990s setting, the emotional family conflicts, or Xukai's dramatic transformation into a rough-edged young man from a mining town. But tonight wasn't just about promoting a new drama. It was about stepping into the world of 800 meters within a square meter, a world full of danger, sacrifice, desperation, loyalty, love, and survival. Before discussing the complicated relationships and shocking plot twists, the host invited the four actors to greet the audience and introduce their characters in a single word. And just like that, the emotional journey began. The cast introduces themselves. The host smiled brightly and looked towards Xukai first. All right, let's begin with Mr. Xukai. Please greet everyone and introduce your character. Xukai leaned slightly forward and waved politely. Hello everyone, I'm Xukai, and I play Chen Hui in 800 meters within a square meter. He paused for a moment before continuing. If I had to describe Chen Hui in one word, actually, I'd probably choose a dual-sided word. The audience immediately became curious. Xukai smiled. Because Chen Hui is a kind and filial son. He's also a considerate boyfriend. But at the same time, he's someone constantly flirting with danger in the shadows. That single description instantly painted a vivid image. Chen Hui was not a traditional hero. He was a young man trapped between morality and survival. A person torn between protecting the people he loves and escaping the darkness slowly closing in around him. The host laughed warmly. Welcome Kai. Then the microphone turned toward the next actor. Now let's hear from Eun-hee. Eun-hee greeted the audience softly. Hello everyone, I'm Eun-hee, and I play Gao Songgu in 800 meters within a square meter. When asked to describe her character in one word, she answered almost immediately. Wild grass. The host blinked in surprise. Wild grass? Eun-hee nodded. Yes. Because in my opinion, Songgu is someone desperately trying to survive in the middle of destruction. She has extremely strong vitality. She desperately wants to live. Her voice carried a quiet sadness. If I had to summarize her experience, I'd say she's someone who endured endless storms. The atmosphere in the room softened. The audience could already feel the emotional weight behind Song Ji-e's story. Welcome Eun-hee, the host said gently. Then it was Huka's turn. Ms. Huka, please introduce yourself. Huka smiled elegantly. Hello everyone, I'm Huka, and I play Dingyu, Chen Hui's mother. When asked how she would describe Dingyu, her expression immediately became more emotional. I think Dingyu represents the warmth and seasons of a family. The room fell quiet. She tried her best to keep the family together. She wanted everyone to stay happy and complete. It wasn't easy for her. Even though she may not have succeeded in the end, I think she sacrificed a great deal for love. The host looked genuinely moved. Welcome, Sister Vuku. And wow, today you look completely different from your character. You're radiant and beautiful. Everyone laughed. Finally, the host turned toward Su Xing. Teacher Su Xing, we meet again. Please say hello to everyone. Su Xing grinned. Hello everyone, I'm Su Xing, and I play Lu Yuan in 800 meters within a square meter. Then came his brutally honest character description. Lu Yuan is a greedy young man from a small town. He never had enough money. He never stopped wanting more. In the end, he pushed Shen Hui to the edge of destruction. The host immediately laughed. Welcome, Teacher Su Xing. Right from the beginning, your survival instinct is strong. Everyone burst into laughter. Another villain role, the host teased. Su Xing shrugged helplessly. What can I do? The chemistry among the cast was instant. There was warmth. There was humor. And underneath it all, there was an unmistakable emotional intensity surrounding the drama itself. A drama filled with questions. The host explained that many viewers had already become deeply curious about the series. Some wanted to know more about the plot. Others wanted insight into the characters. Many were especially fascinated by the emotional tension visible in the trailers. Tonight, the cast would answer those questions one by one. And the first topic everyone wanted to discuss was Xukai's shocking transformation. Xukai's most dramatic transformation yet. One viewer's question immediately drew attention. Your appearance this time is completely different from your previous roles. You have darker skin, short hair, and the rough look of a mining town youth. Were you shocked when you first saw yourself styled like this? Xukai smiled. Honestly, I was very happy. The answer surprised everyone. Because when I saw the final look, I felt it perfectly matched the image of Chen Hui in my mind. He explained that the production team worked carefully to recreate the atmosphere of the 1990s. The costumes, the hairstyles, the textures, even the dirt and faded colors. Everything was designed to make the characters feel authentic. You can already see it in the trailers, Xukai said. We really wanted to recreate the feeling of that era. And it worked. Instead of looking polished and glamorous, Xukai looked tired, sunburned, burdened, like someone carrying the weight of survival on his shoulders. It was perhaps one of the most grounded and emotionally raw performances of his career. The food that became part of the drama. As the atmosphere relaxed, the conversation shifted toward one of the cast's favorite subjects, food. The host laughed. We heard that Xukai became the meal police on set this time. Apparently, everyone was always eating. So what was the best food? Xukai answered instantly. I took every meal very seriously because everything was delicious. Everyone laughed. The one that left the deepest impression on me was the mutton soup, he continued. Especially the mutton soup from the old noodle shop. The other cast members immediately agreed. Huku nodded enthusiastically. Yes. We ate so many scenes involving food. Every time we filmed, we'd buy extra mutton soup and bring it back. Then she added with absolute seriousness. But mutton soup must be eaten hot. Once it gets cold, it completely changes. The cast burst into laughter again. When you open the lid while it's still hot, she said, the smell is irresistible. Then everyone turned toward Eunhee. Unfortunately, her character Song-gu was seriously ill in the drama. He couldn't really eat much, someone explained. Eunhee nodded. Even drinking water became painful for Song-gu. But off camera, the cast apparently ate extremely well. There were pig trotters, Eunhee recalled happily. And those beef patties. The entire cast immediately became excited. They began talking over each other. There was this man who kept following our crew around selling beef patties. He somehow always knew where we'd be filming next. We didn't even know where we'd be filming tomorrow, but he knew. The studio exploded with laughter. Apparently, the mysterious beef patty vendor became legendary on set. The preserved vegetable patty was incredible, Sushing said. Everyone agreed immediately. Then came the funniest part. One day he took a group photo with us, Sushing explained, and later he put it on his cart and wrote spokesperson, famous actor Sushing. The room erupted. I was so embarrassed. The host couldn't stop laughing. Did he at least give you a discount afterward? No. The cast laughed even harder. Moments like these revealed something special about the production. Despite the drama's heavy emotional themes, the atmosphere behind the scenes was warm, chaotic, and full of life. Who ate the most on set? The conversation naturally turned into playful teasing. The host suddenly asked, "So who had the biggest appetite?" Everyone immediately started accusing each other. Then someone brought up Ding Yangda, who played Chen Hui's father. He looks like someone who really loves food, the host joked. Don't say nonsense when teacher Ding isn't here, someone protested. But Huku laughed. A man who can eat is a good man. Everyone applauded dramatically. Being able to eat means loving life. The mood became increasingly lively. Yet even in these light-hearted moments, the cast frequently circled back to the emotional core of the drama. Because food, family dinners, and simple daily routines played an important role in the story. They represented warmth, normalcy, and the fragile happiness that the characters were desperately trying to hold on to. A dangerous father and son relationship. The host then shifted toward one of the drama's most fascinating dynamics. Many viewers say the scenes between Chen Hui and his father feel like a cat and mouse game. Xukai thought carefully. Then he smiled. I think it's more like a television version of Tom and Jerry, except it's about family versus justice. Everyone immediately reacted. That's a dangerous spoiler. Xukai laughed nervously. I can't say too much. Still, his description hinted at one of the show's most emotionally complex themes. This was not a simple conflict between good and evil. It was about love colliding with duty, protection colliding with morality, a father trying to protect his son, a son hiding secrets from his father, and both gradually becoming trapped in circumstances larger than themselves. The host revealed that viewers had already noticed intense tension in the trailers. It feels like they're father and son, but also enemies. Xukai nodded. Every scene was extremely nerve-wracking. He explained that the actors spent long hours discussing how to maximize emotional tension. Blocking, eye contact, movement, silence. Everything mattered. We discussed every detail, Xukai said. How to make the fear feel real. How to make the conflict believable. Then Su Xing interrupted. And sometimes that meant actually hitting him. The room exploded with laughter. The slap scene everyone will talk about. The host immediately became excited. So there's a real fight scene? Xukai nodded. At first Brother Xing didn't want to hit me for real. Su Xing looked guilty. I really couldn't do it. He's too handsome. Everyone laughed again. But Xukai insisted. I told him, brother, just do it for real. Fake hits don't work. So eventually, Su Xing actually slapped him. Multiple times. At first we thought the pain would be on my face, Xukai explained. But later we realized his hand hurt even more. The cast couldn't stop laughing. The host joked, "You're all working too hard for realism." Yet behind the humor was something important. The actors were deeply committed to emotional authenticity. This was not a glossy suspense drama built entirely on style. It was grounded in physical discomfort, emotional exhaustion, fear, pressure, and the ugly desperation of survival. Xukai reveals the most difficult part of playing Chen Hui. The host then asked a more serious question. Compared to your previous roles, what was most challenging about Chen Hui? Xukai's expression changed immediately. He became quiet. Chen Hui was very difficult for me emotionally. He explained that many of his past characters were powerful. Martial arts masters, war heroes, confident men capable of controlling their fate. But Chen Hui was different. While filming, I constantly felt helpless. He described how every relationship in Chen Hui's life carried pressure. Lu Yuan was bullying him. Hua Keiming was threatening him. His father wanted to catch him. Song Gu was sick, and he couldn't let his mother notice anything was wrong because he didn't want her to worry. The emotional burden became overwhelming. It felt like no matter what Chen Hui did, he couldn't protect everyone. That sentence perfectly captured the tragedy of the character. Chen Hui was not simply fighting external enemies. He was fighting fate itself. Eunhee's most heartbreaking role. Next, the focus shifted toward Eunhee and her role as Gao Songgu. Some viewers online had already created unusual nicknames for the character. One of them described Songgu as a sickly innocent girl with the soul of a scarred motorcycle queen. Even Eunhee laughed at the description. It sounds like two completely different people. But after thinking about it carefully, she admitted it made sense. Songgu looks gentle on the outside, she explained, but many of her actions completely contradict that appearance. That contradiction became one of the role's defining characteristics. Softness mixed with recklessness. Fragility mixed with stubbornness. A dying person still desperately trying to live. When asked whether the role was difficult, Eunhee answered honestly, "Yes, very difficult." She explained that Songgu internalizes most of her emotions. She doesn't know how to express her pain. She doesn't tell Chen Hui everything. She doesn't tell her family everything. Instead, the emotions slowly build inside her. And honestly, Eunhee said softly, sometimes not knowing how to express those feelings made them feel even more real. The room fell quiet. Everyone seemed deeply affected by her answer. Learning to ride motorcycles for the role. Then the mood became lighter again when the host brought up one of Song Ji's most memorable scenes. There's a motorcycle scene between Songgu and Lu Yuan, right? Immediately, the cast started discussing motorcycles. Apparently, Eunhee had learned to ride specifically for the drama. How long did it take? About a month. Everyone looked impressed. Then the host turned toward Su Xing. "You're the motorcycle expert. What score would you give her?" Su Xing nodded seriously. "She's brave." Then he added, "Honestly, just getting on that kind of bike already takes courage." Everyone agreed. The motorcycle became symbolic of Songgu herself. Fast, dangerous, free, and impossible to completely control. The pain behind Song Ji's story. The host carefully asked a deeper question. What is the most broken part of Songgu? Eunhee answered quietly. Her illness. She explained that Songgu develops uremia during the story. Before that, she lived a relatively happy life. She had family, love, warmth. But after becoming ill, everything changed. She suddenly had to face very realistic problems. Money, fear, physical suffering, hopelessness, and she didn't know what to do. Eunhee explained that this helplessness gradually shaped every decision Songgu made afterward. She experiences despair over and over again. Then she smiled apologetically. I wish I could explain more, but I think viewers need to experience it themselves. The cast clearly wanted to avoid spoilers. But even their careful answers revealed just how emotionally intense the drama becomes. if the characters posted on social media. To avoid revealing too many plot details, the host proposed a creative game. If your character posted a message online after the first 4 episodes, what would it say? Everyone immediately laughed. Huko went first. She thought quietly before answering. Good times are always fleeting. The emotional weight of Ding Yu's perspective instantly became clear. A mother desperately trying to preserve happiness while watching it slowly disappear. Then it was Su Xing's turn. He dramatically declared, "I don't want to leave. I really want to stay." Everyone immediately teased him. That sounds like song lyrics. It sounds forced. Su Xing defended himself dramatically while the room erupted with laughter. Then Xukai finally answered. Shen would probably say, "Let me think of a solution." That single sentence perfectly summarized the character. A young man constantly trapped in impossible situations, always trying to fix things, always trying to protect others, even while slowly collapsing himself. Finally, he smiled mischievously. Hanmin Factory Grand Opening Sale. Recharge 100 and get 50 free. Everyone burst into laughter again. Even in pain, Songgu apparently remained committed to business promotions. The playful exercise unexpectedly revealed something deeper. Every character was carrying pressure, fear, longing, hope, and all of them were struggling to survive in their own way, recreating the 1990s with incredible detail. One of the most fascinating parts of the conversation focused on the production design. The drama's 1990s setting felt astonishingly real. The host specifically mentioned the small clinic where Ding Yu works. "It feels incredibly authentic," she said. Huku immediately praised the production team. "Our art department was extraordinary." She explained that stepping onto the set instantly transported the actors into another era. Even the smallest details were accurate. Ballpoint pens, receipts, old telephones, medicine bottles, posters, metal cabinets. Everything felt lived in. That environment helped us emotionally enter the story very quickly. Huku also recalled filming inside an old-fashioned hair salon. There were giant perm machines and those old metal barber chairs. Then she laughed. And the woman washing my hair was actually a real hairdresser. Apparently, the production had invited someone who genuinely worked in a salon during that era. She was incredibly professional, Huka said. The entire set became more than just scenery. It became memory, a living recreation of a vanished time. Childhood memories hidden inside the props. The host then asked whether any props reminded the actors of their own childhoods. Xukai immediately answered, "So many things." Even though he was born in 1995, he still recognized many familiar snacks and toys. There were candies from childhood, little snacks, watermelon candy. He laughed. Honestly, I mostly focused on what I could eat. Everyone laughed again. He mentioned roller skates. In the drama they use old double-row skates. I used to skate when I was younger too. Then Su Xing joined in. For me, almost everything on set felt familiar. He described seeing old candies, pens, snacks, and preserved fruits that instantly reminded him of childhood. There were even things I hadn't seen in years. The cast agreed that the production team worked incredibly hard to recreate the emotional atmosphere of the era. Not just visually, emotionally. The sets weren't simply accurate. They felt personal. Huku's favorite photograph from the set. The conversation turned emotional again when Huku described one photograph she particularly loved. She explained that after makeup or filming, she often sent photos from set to her husband, Shai. But one image stayed in her heart. I was riding a bicycle home after shopping. The lighting was softly backlit. The street looked warm and nostalgic. And when I saw that photo, she said quietly, I felt like it perfectly captured that era. Not glamorous, not dramatic, just warm, simple, human. That image reflected the emotional foundation of the drama itself. Beneath the crime, beneath the suspense, beneath the danger, there was still ordinary life, and ordinary people trying to hold on to happiness. Why this drama feels different? As the conversation continued, one thing became increasingly obvious. 800 meters within a square meter is not simply a suspense drama. It's a story about love. Complicated love. Painful love. Protective love. Destructive love. Huku explained it beautifully. This family is extremely complicated, she said. But everything they do comes from love. She pointed toward xukai. Shen is driven by love. Then toward Eunhee. Songgu is driven by love. Then she discussed Ding Yangda's character. The father may appear harsh, but everything he does is because he wants to protect his son. Even Lu Yuan, in his own distorted way, is motivated by survival and desire. Everyone is loving someone, Huka said. Then Su Xing immediately interrupted. I love myself. The room exploded with laughter again. But the joke actually reinforced something important. Every character in the story is chasing something desperately. Safety, money, family, freedom, survival. And those desires slowly pull them toward dangerous choices. A story about survival. Throughout the entire interview, one theme appeared repeatedly. Survival. Not heroic survival. Not glamorous survival, but messy survival. The kind where good people make terrible decisions. The kind where desperation slowly erodes morality. The kind where love becomes both salvation and destruction. Xukai described Chen Hui as someone flirting with danger in the shadows. Eunhee described Songgu as wild grass desperately trying to live. Who could describe Dingyu as a woman sacrificing herself for family? Su Xing described Lu Yuan as a greedy man who could never stop wanting more. Each character represents a different form of survival. And together, they create a story filled with emotional tension. Why viewers are already obsessed. Even before the drama officially aired, audiences had already become deeply invested. Part of that excitement comes from the cast itself. Xukai's transformation is unlike anything many viewers have seen before. He brings heartbreaking emotional fragility. Huke provides warmth and emotional grounding. Su Xing injects chaos and danger. But another reason lies in the atmosphere. The drama feels real. Dusty streets, old neon lights, motorcycles roaring through narrow roads, family meals, tiny clinics, rusty factories, late-night tension. Everything feels textured and lived in. Instead of relying purely on flashy suspense, the story builds emotional investment first. And that makes the danger feel even more intense. Because viewers care about these people. The emotional core of the drama. Toward the end of the conversation, the host reflected on how emotionally heavy the series feels. The actors nodded. Despite all the humor during the interview, they clearly carried deep emotional attachment to their characters. Xukai admitted that filming often left him emotionally drained. He described scenes that felt painful and difficult to express. Huke repeatedly returned to themes of family and sacrifice. Even Su Xing's humor couldn't fully hide the darkness surrounding Lu Yuan. The emotional complexity of the drama seems to come from the fact that nobody is entirely right. Nobody is entirely wrong. Everyone is trapped. And everyone is trying to survive. Final thoughts from the cast. As the interview approached its conclusion, the cast once again encouraged viewers to watch the drama. But instead of aggressively promoting it, they spoke with genuine affection. You could tell this project meant something to them. Not only because of the performances, but because of the emotional experience they shared while filming. The late-night discussions, the physically exhausting scenes, the emotional breakdowns, the meals together, the nostalgic sets, the motorcycle practice, the real slaps, the laughter, the heartbreak. All of it became part of the final story. And perhaps that is why 800 meters within a square meter already feels different from many other dramas. It doesn't simply present suspense. It presents humanity. Messy humanity. Painful humanity. People making impossible decisions because they love someone too much. People hiding fear behind stubbornness. People trying to survive while slowly losing themselves. And somewhere in the middle of all that darkness, there are still moments of warmth. A bowl of hot mutton soup. A bicycle ride at sunset. A mother trying to keep her family together. A young man searching desperately for a solution. A girl refusing to stop living. A group of actors laughing together while discussing scenes that broke their hearts. That emotional contradiction may ultimately become the drama's greatest strength. Because life itself often feels exactly the same. Beautiful, painful, funny, terrifying, and deeply human. Why you should watch 800 meters within a square meter. If you love suspense dramas with fast pacing, emotional tension, and morally complicated characters, this series will likely pull you in immediately. But if you also appreciate stories about family, sacrifice, loyalty, and survival, then this drama may resonate even more deeply. It's not just about crime. It's about the emotional consequences of fear, the burden of responsibility, and the impossible choices people make when cornered. The performances already appear remarkably layered. Xukai delivers vulnerability rarely seen in his previous roles. He brings emotional fragility mixed with quiet determination. Huke provides emotional depth and warmth. Xing creates tension through unpredictability and greed. Together, they create a world that feels dangerous, nostalgic, and heartbreakingly real. And after hearing the cast speak about the project so passionately, one thing becomes certain. This is not a drama built only for entertainment. It's a drama built from emotion, from memory, from pressure, from survival. And perhaps that's exactly why viewers are already unable to look away.